The Sinister Woman on the Bridge, revealing 12 terrifying paranormal encounters of the cursed Emma Johnson's laughter always echoed through their home like sunshine piercing dark clouds. Yet, one evening, as dusk draped over the neighborhood like a shroud, her stories took a twisted turn. She spoke of a woman, her face gaunt and shadowy, her eyes hollow with secrets seen standing on the old bridge. The way Emma described her sent shivers down Sarah's spine. Words that should have been innocent childhood fancies felt far more sinister. "Mom!" She waved at me. Emma's eyes sparkled with both wonder and fear. "I think she wants to play." A chill crept in, wrapping itself around Sarah's heart. At first, she brushed it off, laughing lightly. Just another wild imagination, she thought. But the laughter of their home dimmed, slowly replaced by whispers of dark truths and lingering dread. The once charming streets of their quaint suburb tightened around them. Reports of missing children began to circulate. Whispers hinted at the shadowy woman-esque connection, the sinister lure that drew innocence toward the bridge. The neighborhood shifted beneath Sarah's feet, each neighbor sporting an unreadable expression, their smiles now ghostly masks. More unsettling were the texts Sarah began to receive, anonymous warnings that rattled her mind, suggesting she knew secrets buried deep. "She's watching you, watching your daughter." Tom, her husband, became increasingly absorbed in a tense investigation regarding the disappearances, his footsteps echoing with distance around their home. What once felt safe, comfortable, slowly morphed into a suffocating cage. Emma's drawings of the woman became more frequent, her fingers almost trembling as she sketched dark strokes swirling ominously across the paper. The bridge transformed from a peaceful sight into a threatening figure, lurking, waiting. One stormy night, Sarah could no longer dismiss the fear curling in her stomach. Heart racing, she asked Emma to recount her latest encounter with the woman. "She called my name, Mom," Emma said, her voice barely a whisper. "She wants me to come closer." A loud crash erupted from outside, drawing both their eyes to the window. There, a dark figure flitted across the bridge. The sun had vanished, leaving only a sinister darkness in its wake. Sarah's heart seized. Instincts screamed of danger, yet something pulled her closer, urging her to venture forward, to confront the terror head-on. "Wait!" she gasped, gripping Emma's hand as they crept towards the door, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and dread. The bridge loomed ahead, its shadows stretching into a realm they weren't sure they could escape. Each step was a battle against paralyzing fear. They approached, feet heavy like lead, every nerve alive and pulsating with danger. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As they reached the bridge's edge, the air thickened, seeming to thrum with quiet malevolence. "Mom, I'm scared." Emma's voice trembled, a new fear settling in. Sarah's heart pounded against her chest, the shadows whispering secrets. Suddenly, a gust of wind whipped past them, and for a heartbeat, silence engulfed everything. All breaths stopped. Then, out of the dark, a chilling whisper reached their ears, beckoning them closer. The bridge felt alive, breathing darkness into their very souls. Just when they thought of turning back, they found themselves caught in an invisible grip, a chilling question hanging in the air: what truly lurked on the other side of the bridge? The night wrapped around Sarah and Emma like a thick fog, suffocating and cold. Heart racing, Sarah felt the line between reality and nightmare blur. The bridge was no longer just wood and steel, it was a living entity, pulsating with dark energy. They stood on the precipice, eyes focused on the shadows, waiting for something to happen. "Don't be scared, Mom," Emma said, a flicker of courage shining through her trembling voice. "She just wants to play, but it wasn't a game." "Not anymore." The darkness seemed to whisper secrets, twisting words into lies that burrowed deep into Sarah's mind. Panic clawed at her throat. What if Emma was right? What if the woman was more than just a delusion? With every heartbeat, she felt the weight of ignoring the warnings grow heavier. A rustling sound echoed behind them, a scuffle of branches that snapped like bones underfoot. Sarah whirled around, expecting the safety of home to be just a few steps away. Instead, the street lay bathed in an otherworldly darkness, vacant and haunted. No glow from the porch lights, no sounds of crickets. Only the sound of her own breath mixed with the distant call of water running beneath the bridge. "Mom," Emma called, her face pale. The innocence once carried in her tone had vanished. A weighty silence answered. "Let us go back," Sarah urged, gripping Emma's hand tightly. But as she turned to retreat, a silhouette darted across the bridge, stopping them in their tracks. The gaunt figure was clearer now, its eyes hollow and haunting. The way it moved was wrong, too fluid, too serpentine. Sarah's grip on Emma tightened as dread closed in around them. "Look!" Emma gasped, pointing into the shadows beneath the bridge, where the water had begun to churn, dark like ink. The figure of the woman seemed to meld into the night, blending with the darkness itself. "You shouldn't have come here," it whispered, words slithering through the air, curling around Sarah's mind. "I know you." It tilted its head, eyes glinting like shards of glass, locking onto Emma. "No!" Sarah shouted, pulling Emma closer, their hearts synchronized in frantic beats. But the woman smiled, a ghastly widening of lips that revealed teeth too sharp, too pointed. Emma stood frozen, entranced. "She knows my name," she murmured, eyes wide. Sarah's breath hitched. "Emma, don't." But her daughter remained rooted, an invisible bond tying her to the figure. Suddenly, the darkness shifted, a ripple of shadows cascading as if the world itself was bending. The woman's eyes burned brighter, and an icy chill raced down Sarah's spine. She could feel the pull, the lure of the bridge tugging at her, a desperate instinct echoing within. "Come play with me, Emma," the woman beckoned, voice a seductive melody. For a moment, Sarah stumbled, her resolve wavering. What if the woman only wanted to play? Perhaps the stories were just tales spun from fear. "Mom!" Emma cried. "I want to." "No!" Panic ignited within Sarah. She yanked at Emma's arm, a desperate pull against the weight of the sinister force. But as if caught in a net of shadows, they both wavered, oscillating between terror and temptation, the line blurring more by the second. The bridge creaked ominously, the air thick with anticipation. Then, in a heartbeat, it happened. A scream echoed piercingly, a sound of pure terror that shattered the silence, unraveling the spell that held them. It was not Emma. Choking back fear, Sarah turned, adrenaline propelling her feet back. Shadows flickered. "We have to go," she screamed as she dragged Emma with her, the dark figure now a looming specter behind them, more furious. Just as they reached the threshold of the bridge, Sarah glanced back, instinct gnawing at her intuition. The woman was no longer just watching, she was moving, gliding forward, the promise of despair in every step. But what happened next was beyond Sarah's reckoning. The ground trembled beneath them, and Emma let out a cry, "Mom, she is coming." In that moment, reality faltered, and Sarah wondered, what was left waiting for them in the darkness? What would happen if the shadow caught them? As they stumbled away from the bridge, Sarah's mind swirled with questions, the night becoming a shrill scream of terror, unanswered and relentless. Would they ever escape the grip of the sinister woman? As they turned to flee, the chilling whisper lingered in the air, echoing with terrifying certainty, "You can't run from me, not forever." Heart pounding, Sarah yanked Emma's hand, pulling them both away from the bridge. The chill of the night didn't just hang in the air, it seeped into their bones, pressing down on them like a weighted blanket of doom. Each step away felt like wading through molasses. "Keep your eyes forward," Sarah urged, terrified of what lurked behind. Emma's small fingers trembled in her grip. In that moment, fear was a companion, ugly and suffocating, and Sarah could feel it in the way her breath came ragged and quick. The street ahead was eerily vacant. The familiar neighborhood had turned foreign, shadows twisting and sprawling like skeletal fingers reaching for them. "Mom," Emma whispered, her voice barely a breath. "What if she—" "Stop!" Sarah snapped, wanting to shield her daughter from the encroaching fear. But the shadow of the woman loomed in her mind, refusing to leave. Was this the trickery of her imagination? "No!" Emma cried, suddenly dropping her mother's hand, as if something unseen had commanded her to stay. The world twisted again, and the bridge appeared in their periphery, a grotesque beacon returning them to its haunting pull. Emma began to gravitate back towards it, each backward step like a dagger in Sarah's heart. "Stay with me, Emma." But Emma's glazed eyes held only the reflection of nightmarish fascination. The woman's voice slipped through the darkness, smooth and hypnotizing. "You belong with me, little one Emma." Panic surged through Sarah like wildfire, igniting every protective instinct she possessed. She lunged forward, grasping Emma with both hands, her daughter's body trembling as if caught between worlds. "Let her go!" Sarah screamed into the night, her voice cracking. "No!" Emma gasped, her voice a desperate plea. "She is my friend." "She's not your friend," Sarah insisted, tears stinging her eyes. The words felt heavy, like trying to fight against a torrent of cold water. Time stretched unnaturally, and the air became thick, the presence of the woman crowding in. Shadows danced on the periphery, whispering memories of regrets and lost hopes, making it hard for Sarah to think straight. What was fueling this darkness? Why did it gnaw at the edges of her daughter's spirit? Fingers of fog slid around them, tightening like a vice. "Bring her to me," the woman urged, her voice dripping with malice. As if spellbound, Emma stepped toward the bridge, her movements slow and deliberate. In that moment of sheer horror, Sarah felt the ground shift beneath her. The screams of the unseen splattered across her consciousness, paralyzing her with the weight of their despair. "Mom!" Emma called out, this time filled with a desperation that shook Sarah to her core. Summoning a strength she didn't know she had, Sarah propelled herself forward, breaking through the fog closing around them. "No, Emma. Come back." But the woman's presence loomed large, arms outstretched, fingers beckoning like branches reaching for prey. Sarah's heart dropped. She saw Emma not just her daughter, but a fragment of innocence, caught in a web of darkness. "Let her go!" Sarah shouted once more, her voice now an echoing battle cry. Suddenly, she felt a warm pulse of light wrapping around her, breaking through the suffocating shadow. Sarah grabbed Emma's arm, yanking her back fiercely. But the darkness coiled tighter, visibly angry, responding to their defiance. The woman's smile twisted, a jagged grin of fury as the shadows churned around their feet. "You cannot escape me!" she screeched, voice piercing the night. And in that instant, a terrible realization washed over Sarah. The bridge wasn't merely a passage between land, it was a threshold, a doorway. They had stood on the edge of something terrible. Terrified, she turned to run again, but the ground quaked and the world tilted. The shadowed grasp of the woman threatened to swallow them whole. "Hold on tight!" Sarah screamed, yanking Emma closer as they bolted forward together. But even as the woman's shrill laughter chased them, Sarah couldn't shake what hung in the air behind them, the promise that this was just the beginning. What awaited them further down this twisted path? Would escape really be possible, or was it only a delay of the inevitable? The burden of darkness closed in, thick and heavy. The world around them twisted again, shadows deepening as they sprinted away from the bridge. Every step felt like running through molasses, feet dragging against the unseen weight pressing down on them. Sarah could hear her pulse thumping in her ears, a frantic rhythm drowning out every rational thought. "Mom!" Emma's voice sliced through the night, filled with a mixture of fear and wonder. "I can still hear her. She is calling for me." "No!" Sarah screamed, tightening her grip on Emma's hand. "She is trying to lure you, Emma. We have to get away." They stumbled onto the main road, the harsh glow of a street lamp making the shadows dance around them. But the comfort was fleeting, they were still not safe. The darkness crafted something more sinister, more alive, as if the night were watching, patiently waiting for their next move. "Mom, I don't want to leave her." Emma whimpered, her face twisted with conflict. The desperation in her eyes was like a crack in the dam, threatening to spill over. "Emma, listen to me." Sarah knelt, staring fiercely into her daughter's eyes. "That woman isn't your friend. She is evil. We need to find help now." Suddenly, a shriek tore through the air behind them, echoing like a wraith in the night. Sarah's heart raced. The sound was not just a scream, it was a declaration. The woman was furious. "Run!" Sarah urged, scrambling back to her feet, pulling Emma along. The two fled deeper into the neighborhood, past houses shrouded in darkness and despair. With each stride, Sarah scanned their surroundings, praying for a flicker of life, a light, something to pull them away from the encroaching shadows. But the silence was deafening, the stillness crushing. They turned a corner only to find the road ahead fading into an abyss of darkness, merging into the very shadows that pursued them. "Where are we?" Emma's voice was shaky, the bravado of childhood crushed under the weight of fear. "I don't know. Just keep moving." As they pressed on, the air grew thick like fog, swirling and cold, wrapping around their ankles, pulling at Sarah as if trying to drag her back. She stumbled, then regained her footing, yet the sensation of hands grasping at her legs persisted. They darted through an alley, the narrow passage lined with tall, oppressive buildings that loomed above them like spectral guardians. Somewhere, a flicker of light broke through the darkness, a restaurant letting out a burst of laughter and warmth. Sarah's heart leaped with hope. "There! We can get help." But as they neared the entrance, the sounds fell silent, swallowed by the thick smoke of dread. Shadows pulled around the entrance, twining like snakes, twisting back into the depths from which they had fled. "Wait," she whispered to Emma, sensing danger looming. The door swung open, creaking ominously, revealing only more darkness beyond. There was no warmth, no safety. Emma's voice trailed off, and Sarah froze, sensing that familiar tug around her heart. She glanced down, and there was Emma, her eyes staring blankly as the call of the woman echoed through the alley. "Emma! No!" Sarah screamed, snapping her daughter back from the edge of that dark abyss. She yanked Emma away, thrusting them both back into the alley, but the shadows writhed in anger. "He is hungry," whispered a voice, chilling and sweet. "You have something he wants. What do you want?" Sarah shouted, defiance mingling with terror. The laughter tumbled around them like a discordant melody, bouncing off the brick walls. "To join our family, dear girl, to share in the forever." Suddenly, a bone-rattling laugh erupted from the shadows, a cacophony of voices chortling in a dark chorus. With a jolt, Sarah's instincts screamed to flee, but her legs felt like lead. "Sarah!" Emma cried, desperation creeping back into her tone. Time stilled. The tender moment between mother and daughter was crumbling, the abyss promised to swallow them whole. With newfound resolve, Sarah gripped Emma's hand tighter. "We can't stop. Not now." As they turned to escape again, Sarah caught a fleeting image of the woman standing at the alley's mouth, her eyes glinting with hunger and malice. Then came the chill. The shadows surged, and an icy wind pulled at Sarah's coat, stinging her skin as she and Emma fled deeper into the darkness, hearts pounding to the drum of something monstrous that waited with bated breath. What lay ahead? A secret they were being led toward, or simply another layer of horror weaving closer? The alley twisted impossibly, and behind them, laughter echoed, now mingling with the cries of despair. What awaited them around the next corner? Would they find an escape, or were they walking straight into the heart of darkness? The shadows pressed in, enveloping Sarah and Emma as they ran. The city around them dissolved into an endless maze of darkness, buildings looming like giants with twisted faces, their windows like lifeless eyes watching the unfolding horror. Emma's grip on her mother's hand felt smaller now, her breaths quickening as they turned another corner. "Mom, I can't keep going," she gasped, voice strained with fatigue and fear. "Just a little more, Emma." Sarah wheezed, her own legs burning. The laughter followed them, echoing between the buildings, taunting. She could feel its icy tendrils slithering closer, eager to ensnare them. Ahead, a flicker of light pulsed in the darkness. It was faint but beckoning, a beacon in the suffocating gloom. Sarah's heart raced as they stumbled toward it, hope igniting against the suffocating dread. "I think I see something," Emma cried, newfound energy igniting in her voice. As they neared, the light grew brighter, illuminating a doorway tucked away beneath an archway. A sign swung lazily in the wind, reading "Fleeing Shadows Shelter." It felt absurd. Who would name a refuge like that? "Quick! In here!" Sarah urged. They shoved through the doorway, a gust of stale air hitting them like a wall, stinging their senses. The shelter was dim but alive with whispers, flickering candles casting eerie shapes on the walls. A woman stood behind a makeshift counter, her face shadowed. "You're not safe here," she warned with a tone that mingled fear with authority. "What?" Sarah gasped, scanning the room. Faces appeared in the candlelight, each one marked by the terror she recognized all too well. They were desperate, wild-eyed, just like her. "Don't let her in," one man whispered hoarsely. "She has already followed you here." "Who?" Emma whimpered. "The woman from the bridge," the man continued. "She wants you." Fear crashed over Sarah like a tidal wave. "What do you mean? What does she want?" Suddenly, the shadows beyond the door pulsed. The flickering candles flickered faster, casting erratic shadows that danced with menace. "She collects souls," the woman at the counter said, her gaze piercing. "But there's a way if you can face her. Only one can survive. She wants me, she wants to take me." Emma cried, clinging to Sarah as if she were the last tether to life. "No. No one is going to take you." Sarah shouted, the wavering terror in her voice betrayed her resolve. As panic surged in the cramped shelter, the door shuddered. Something powerful pushed against it, rattling the frames, testing their sanctuary's strength. Sarah stepped forward, her heart in her throat, determination mixed with dread. "I'll face her. Just tell me how." The woman's eyes softened. "You have to confront the truth, but the shadows will reveal only what you fear." Emma stared up at Sarah, vulnerability in her wide eyes, drawing Sarah's focus. "Mom, don't go. Don't leave me." With one last shove, the door burst open, shadows spilling in like a flood, carrying with them the echoes of a woman's voice. "You can't run from your fate," it sang, seductive and sinister. For a fleeting moment, Sarah hesitated, the shadows curling around her, whispering her worst fears. She felt Emma's terror seep into her, a bond that only a mother could feel. But the choice lay before her. Would she let the darkness claim them both, or would she step into the abyss, hoping to save the only thing that mattered? Sarah took a deep breath, bolstered by a primal instinct. "Stay close to me, Emma. Whatever happens, we'll face it together." And with that, they stepped back into the night, the world outside darker and more tumultuous than before. The woman stood there, an ethereal silhouette against the void, a chilling smile forming on her lips. "Welcome back, dears. I'd been waiting. What sacrifices would they have to make to escape this nightmare? Would they unravel the truth before they were lost forever?" The moment they stepped outside, the air pushed against Sarah, thick and clammy, as if the city breathed with a sinister intent. Darkness clung to them like a second skin, wrapping around them, dragging them into despair. "Mom, where do we go?" Emma's voice trembled, eyes scanning the void. The reflections of the streetlights flickered like dying stars, illuminating fleeting shadows that danced just beyond their reach. "Stay close," Sarah whispered, gripping her daughter's hand tighter. "We need to find somewhere safe, a place to think." They moved with faltering steps, and the city's silence echoed around them, punctuated only by the faint, breathing whispers of the shadows. Each flicker of movement sent her heart racing as she imagined the woman's face, pale and gaunt, lurking behind each corner. Emma's small voice broke through. "What if she really is following us?" "She's just a figment of our fear," Sarah replied, trying to believe her own words, though dread pooled in her stomach. "We have to keep going. She can't take what she can't find." Ahead, the ominous outline of an abandoned building loomed. Its wooden door hung on rusted hinges, swaying slightly as if beckoning them in. "What about there?" Emma pointed. "Maybe we can hide." Heart pounding, Sarah nodded. "Let us check it out." As they approached, the door creaked open, revealing a pitch-black interior, a suffocating maw that swallowed sound and light. Cold air seeped through the cracks, chilling their bones. "Do we have to go in?" Emma hesitated, her grip tightening around Sarah's fingers. "Just for a moment," Sarah urged, leading the way inside. The darkness swallowed them, the door slamming shut behind them with a deafening thud. Inside, they found themselves in a large, empty room filled with debris and shattered glass. Moonlight filtered through grimy windows, casting strange patterns that twisted like the very shadows that haunted them. Mom, it's so dark, Emma whimpered, her voice barely above a whisper. I know. But we'll be okay, Sarah reassured, though doubt gnawed at the corners of her mind. She could almost feel the woman's presence, lurking just beyond sight. Suddenly, loud thumps echoed above them, ragged and unsteady. Shadows shifted, merging into something more ominous, like fingers stretching out to claim them. What was that? Emma gasped. I don't know, Sarah stammered, dread coiling tighter in her chest. We need to find another way out. As they turned to escape, whispers filled the room, words woven from shadows, chilling and insidious. You can't leave, you have to confront your fate. Panic gripped Sarah's throat as she pulled Emma closer. The whispers escalated, swirling around them, clawing at their minds. Face the truth, face what you fear the most. A flicker of movement caught Sarah's eye. There in the corner stood a figure, draped in shadows, eyes glistening like black pools. The familiar outline of the woman from the bridge was unmistakable. You're searching for a way out, but I'm here to offer you something. Go away. We don't want anything from you. Sarah screamed, her voice breaking, raw with terror. The woman smiled, revealing teeth too white against the darkness. Oh, but you already accepted my invitation. The truth lies within. Only one can emerge. Emma's small frame shook against her. Mom, I don't want to stay here. Neither do I. But we have to be brave. Sarah shouted, her heart racing. We can't give in to her. As the woman's laughter filled the room, Sarah felt the shadows pressing in, tightening around them, blurring the line between fear and reality. You're not here to save your daughter, Sarah. You're here to save yourself. The air thickened, heavier. Desperation clawed at Sarah. In that suffocating moment, she realized something deeper was at stake, a hidden truth tied to her soul. What truth? She demanded, voice steady despite the fear coiling in her stomach. Everything you've buried, the woman whispered, stepping closer. In that instant, Sarah understood, to save Emma, she must first face her own demons. But could she confront the horrors that had haunted her for years? As the shadows loomed larger, she whispered to Emma, whatever happens, just trust me. A new resolve surged within her. Would the truth free them or entrap them in darkness? The shadows pulsed violently, eager to drown them both. Would Sarah succeed in facing her fears, or would they both be consumed by the nightmare? The shadows writhed like living creatures, eager to consume Sarah and Emma. The air thickened, a suffocating shroud of terror wrapping around them. As the woman's laughter echoed, it felt like the very walls were closing in. Mom! I can't breathe. Emma gasped, her small hands trembling. Hold on, sweetheart. We'll get through this. Sarah tried to sound brave, but her heart raced with an impending sense of doom. She looked around, searching for anything that might help. The whispers twisted in her mind, taunting and driving her to the edge of panic. Suddenly, the room quaked. Dust and debris rained down from the ceiling, and Sarah thrust Emma to the ground, shielding her with her body. We have to find a way out. She cried, scanning the haphazard piles of debris scattered across the dark floor. With almost no light, every creak of the building felt alive. As if the very structure was a participant in the horror, siding with the sinister figure. The woman slid closer, her movements fluid, sneering as she approached. The emptiness in her eyes sent chills through Sarah. Face your past, Sarah. Only then can you escape, the woman taunted, her voice a smooth, poisonous hiss. What past? What did she mean? Desperation clawed at Sarah's throat. She could sense the truth bubbling just beneath the surface, something she had buried deep within her. Memories flickered like old film reels. A grave mistake, a moment of betrayal, choices made that had led her to this moment. Could it be what she had hidden all along? Mom? Emma's voice trembled, piercing the fog of Sarah's thoughts. What does she want from us? Emma, listen. Sarah inhaled sharply. Whatever happens, keep your eyes on me. Don't look away. Promise? I promise. Emma said, latching onto her mother's arm. The dark woman's smile widened, almost mockingly. A touching bond, but ultimately futile. The truth awaits. The truth will set you free. She gestured, and shadows shot out like serpents, writhing to envelop them. With a surge of instinct, Sarah aimed for a light shining weakly through the cracks in a nearby wall. "There!" she yelled, quickening her steps. Emma followed, fear evident in her wide eyes. Just as Sarah reached for the gap, a force pulled her back. The woman's laugh echoed again, a cacophony of despair that surged through the building. "You can't escape your reality. The shadows exist within you." "No!" Sarah yelled, fighting against the unseen grip that yanked her into the enveloping darkness. Emma's small hand slipped from her grasp, and a panic unfurled within Sarah. "Mom!" Emma cried, her voice breaking, dissolving into the howling whispers that filled the space around them. "Emma!" Sarah shouted, desperate. She twisted around, arm reaching, her pulse pounding in her ears. In the dim light, she glimpsed Emma, a small figure standing alone, watching as the shadows intertwined, dancing toward her. "Stay away from her!" Sarah screamed. The woman turned fully to Emma. "You can join her, child. But only if you're willing to unravel the truth, to face it head-on." "Mom!" Emma called again, the fright in her voice shattering Sarah's resolve. With a rush of energy, Sarah lunged forward, grappling with the shadows clutching at her. "Emma, I need you to trust me. I'm going to pull you out of this." "Mom, I can't." Emma's voice quivered, each word laced with fear. The shadows shifted, rising around her, tendrils reaching out to ensnare her. "Hold on to me." Sarah's desperation turned into fierce determination. She leaped toward her daughter, ready to battle the darkness itself, but as she reached for Emma, the figure of the woman stepped in between, blocking her path, eyes glinting with twisted satisfaction. "Let her be, Sarah. Choose your path." With that chilling ultimatum hanging in the air, Sarah's heart raced. To save her daughter, she must confront the woman's taunting truth about her past. Would she be able to rescue Emma while stumbling through her darkest memories? As the shadows thickened around them, competing whispers clawing at her skin, Sarah took a deep breath, eyes blazing with resolve. "I'll do it." But what would she uncover? And could she face what awaited her in the darkness? The shadows closed in, a vibrating wave of darkness that pressed unforgivingly against Sarah's chest. Each heartbeat echoed like thunder in her ears, drowning out everything but the dread coiling tightly around her insides. The woman's icy voice lingered, every syllable a dagger. Face your past, but how? What truth did she hide? Sarah could feel it teetering at the edge of her conscience, an old wound, festering away for years. Could it be enough to shatter the chains binding her? No. Sarah shook her head, forcing the memories to retreat. She couldn't. Not now. Emma needs me. Through a veil of shadows, she could see Emma, her daughter frozen in a stance of sheer terror, eyes wide and glistening, searching desperately for guidance. The connection pulsed between them, a tether that stretched taut, but with each passing second, it threatened to snap. "Mom!" Emma's voice cut through the chaos, laced with panic sharper than any blade. The woman stepped forward, her presence a dark cloud. "Let her go, Sarah. You've already made one choice that changed your fate. What's another?" Her laughter washed over them, sending chills down Sarah's spine. "No!" Sarah shouted. She couldn't hand over her daughter, couldn't make that choice. She lunged forward again, but the weight of the shadows bore heavily, they constricted like merciless ropes, dragging her back. She felt the suffocating darkness swallowing her whole. "Emma! Fight it!" Sarah yelled, desperation fueling her every word. Suddenly, flickers of memory surged inside her, her childhood home shrouded in smoke, a door slammed shut with a scream that felt all too familiar, the echoes of a girl whose name she dared not remember. A face began to emerge through the darkness, friends no longer friends, secrets revealed too late. No. But the truth clawed its way to the surface, the woman's wicked grin amplifying with each revelation. "You abandoned them, and you believe that those shadows won't come back for you? Oh, they always do." With fierce clarity, Sarah understood. It wasn't just Emma she feared losing, it was every choice she'd made, every person she left behind. "Leave her alone." Sarah screamed. But before she could roll back into the fog of despair, the air shifted. The shadows recoiled momentarily, as if they, too, felt the weight of her words. Sarah seized the chance. With renewed determination, she surged forward in one desperate leap. "Emma, take my hand." A heartbeat, a moment suspended in time, the two silhouettes tangled together, and for a flickering second, the shadows hesitated, as if caught in a dance of their own, but close behind, the woman hissed, "It's too late, Sarah. The truth demands payment." Sarah felt the tug of darkness surge beneath her, a vortex swirling with pain and regret. Emma flinched, her small body trembling, the shadows curling protectively around her. "Mom, I don't want to lose you. I won't let that happen." With a final surge of will, Sarah lunged through the remaining gloom, her and Emma's hands colliding, fingers intertwining. The shadows wailed, a feral chorus echoing through the suffocating space, promising darkness. "I'm here, Emma. We'll face them together." But just as they felt a glimmer of hope, the woman shrieked a sound that cut through even the deafening cries of despair. "You think you can rewrite your story? You can't escape what you are." In an instant, an overwhelming surge of intense emotions flooded Sarah's heart: love, loss, fear, and raw anger. It knocked her breath away, almost tearing her apart, and then, the ground beneath them quaked violently, sinking and swirling, like they were being pulled into an abyss. "Mom!" Emma's voice cracked as the world around them shifted, shadows blurring even the smallest hint of escape. Sarah's grip on Emma tightened. "Stay with me. No matter what." Before they could move, the light they spotted flickered into nothingness. It was too late. As darkness wrapped around them, a final thought surged through Sarah, a vision of her past that she had no choice but to confront. Would she survive whatever truth she was about to face? Their screams merged into the frightening silence, the shadows consuming them both. And in the distance, a whisper, chilling, lingering, "Welcome home." What awaited them in the depths of that secretet was beyond anything imagined. Would they find solace, redemption, or something far worse? The darkness was thick and heavy, like a smothering blanket. Sarah felt it wrap around them, each pulse of shadow stinging her skin. For a moment, she couldn't tell where she ended and the darkness began, swallowed whole by that suffocating void. Then there was Emma's hand, small and trembling, a spark in the oppressive blackness. Sarah squeezed it tighter, heart pounding like a war drum, dragging Emma along, their feet barely touching the ground. There was no air. No light. Only the woman's echoing laughter, a rancid reminder of choices they could not escape. "Mom," Emma gasped, each breath shallow. "What's happening?" I don't know." Panic clawed at Sarah's throat. "Just stay close." But the shadows were a living entity, each whisper wrapping around them, stealing their strength. With every step, she felt the weight of her past pushing down memories that rose like ghosts from graves long forgotten. Then abruptly, a flicker of light broke through the veil. It was distant and wavering, and Sarah ran toward it, her blood surging with an almost primal urgency. The shadows fought back, reaching for her like skeletal fingers in the night, but she darted forward, yanking Emma behind her as the glow grew brighter. "This way." They burst through the haze into a small clearing, surrounded by a suffocating mist. The light revealed themselves as strange figures, pale and hollow, all with gaping mouths that seemed to form words but emitted nothing. One figure reached out, a bony finger pointing, trembling with rage or despair. It was hard to tell. "What are they saying?" Emma's eyes widened. "Nothing, sweetheart. It doesn't matter," Sarah replied, fear clawing at her heart. But even as she spoke, she felt the truth sinking within her, a truth she still couldn't face. The woman emerged from the shadows again, her smile stretching impossibly wide, cutting through the fog. "Did you think you could escape them? They are the echoes of your choices, Sarah. They are waiting." "No!" Sarah screamed back, the horror of realization unfurling within her. The figures, they were remnants of her past lives, people she wronged, choices that loomed over her like specters of guilt. They were every heart she had broken and every trust she had shattered. "I'm not like that anymore." "Oh, but you are." The woman's chortle was a storm of malice. They'll always be there to remind you, like your own shadows. As she spoke, the mist cleared slightly, revealing a crumbling bridge in the distance. It spanned a yawning chasm that seemed alive, pulsing with a dark energy. The realization jolted through Sarah. This was the bridge from her childhood. The place where everything had changed. We have to go. We have to face it. Sarah urged Emma, who stood awestruck, fear etched across her delicate features. Why would we go to something so terrifying? Because we can't let this consume us. I can't let it consume you. Emma nodded, though doubt lingered in her eyes. They ran toward the bridge, every step feeling heavy, like the ground itself was reluctant to let them cross. The shadows clawed at their heels, and Sarah chanced to glance back. Those tortured faces, filled with sorrow, seemed to draw her back, pulling her toward the past she wanted to forget. Mom, please. Emma's voice broke through her disarray, pulling her focus back. With a deep breath, Sarah reached the edge of the bridge. The rickety boards creaked underfoot. A foreboding sound. Would it hold? She didn't know. But she felt the pull of the chasm beneath, the darkness beckoning her. Are you ready? She asked, the question hanging in the air, heavy with meaning. No, Emma whispered, trembling. Then let us not look back. They took a step forward, and a thunderous roar erupted from below, shadows swirling in a tempest of fury. The bridge swayed ominously. Hold on! Sarah shouted, an unyielding determination igniting within her. But as they stepped onto the bridge together, an ear-splitting shriek echoed from the depths. The shadows rushed forward, fangs of darkness grasping for them, hunger driving them to reclaim their debts. Mom! What if? Just trust me. With one final, desperate lunge forward, they leaped into the unknown, the chasm welcoming them like an old friend waiting for long-awaited retribution. And just before they fell, Sarah understood the shadows hunted not just because of past deeds but the very essence of who she had been. Mom! Emma yelled, then darkness swallowed them whole. What lay on the other side was uncertain, a world where regret stripped like a poison and where choices could either free them or bind them forever. One flicker of hope remained. Redemption was born in the void. But could they still find it in the end? The darkness pressed down on Sarah and Emma, wrapping around them like a heavy blanket. Each heartbeat echoed in the void. They plummeted, weightless yet suffocated by shadows. The air was thick, tasting of dread and unspoken truths. But suddenly, like a spark igniting a flame, their fall slowed. They landed softly on the cool ground of a luminous place. Light broke through the suffocating black, illuminating their surroundings. What lay before them blew the breath from Sarah's lungs, a vast, haunting landscape filled with specters of people she had loved and lost, faces blending in a tapestry of grief and forgiveness. Where are we? Emma whispered, her voice trembling. This is the place, Sarah murmured, realizing the gravity of their surroundings. These are the people and choices that haunt me. As they stood amid the swirling mist of memories, the woman stepped into view, her silhouette sharp against the glow. Welcome to your reckoning, Sarah, she crooned, the excitement in her voice dripping with malice. This is where the past confronts you. I won't be afraid anymore. Sarah declared, resolute. She held Emma's hand tightly, grounding herself in her daughter's very existence. Your fear is a lingering shadow, the woman replied with a chilling smile. Face the truth, and the path will open. Breath caught in her throat, Sarah had to confront what the shadows represented. She turned to Emma. Remember what we talked about? Facing things together? That's what we must do now. With a nod, Emma stepped closer to Sarah. I'm with you, Mom. Always. The shadows writhed closer, morphing into familiar faces. Friends she hadn't spoken to in years, family members whose love she had taken for granted. Each face bore the imprint of anguish and disappointment. Longing mingled with resentment in the air. Why did you leave? One voice echoed, filled with pain. Another called, you think you can erase us? No. I can't. Sarah shouted, tears streaming down her face. I didn't understand the consequences then. I see it clearly now. The woman's laughter resounded, a cacophony of glee and scorn. Can you win against the truth, Sarah? Your past still wants a piece of you. With each layer peeled back, Sarah felt the weight of her guilt press heavier. But this wasn't just a confrontation, it was a chance at redemption. You may have my past, but you don't own my future. I'm here for Emma, to protect her. Not just from you, but from the pain I've created. The figures around her began to fade, shifting like smoke, leaving behind their sorrow but not their messages. The shadows also recoiled a little, murmurs of approval crashing over her. Adult voices can carry burdens, but they don't have to forge chains. A familiar voice chimed in the depths, her mother's voice. Forgive yourself, Sarah. Let love conquer the shadows. I'm sorry. Sarah sobbed, shaking as she felt the grip of the shadows release, the tightness in her chest easing. I'm sorry for the hurt I caused, and I want to move forward. But it starts here, with embracing the truth. The woman's eyes blazed, furious and trembling. You can't, but Sarah's roar drowned out the woman's words. Emma, take my hand. Emma gripped it tightly, and a force unlike anything they had felt surged through them. The bond they shared felt electric, lifting them, illuminating the darker corners of their hearts. The landscape transformed, brighter and filled with warm hues, the shift stunning the opposing shadows as energy coiled inside Sarah's heart like a fresh breath of air. You are not my shadow. I choose love. I choose my daughter. The woman staggered back, the power of their light tangible against the dark. No. You should have stayed lost. But Sarah and Emma surged together, the energy flowing continuously between them. Words of love, regrets, and promises intertwined, resonating loudly. It was truth, forgiveness, and a vow for a new beginning. The shadows collapsed into swirling wisps, dissipating like mist in the morning sun. The woman let out a final, gut-wrenching screech, before disappearing into the light, darkness. Leaving with her, they stood together, hearts racing, light shimmering around them. We did it, Mom! Emma exclaimed, her eyes bright with wonder and relief. Yes, we did, Sarah breathed, realization washing over. The fears, the past, they no longer held power over them. The future spread ahead, wide open, filled with possibilities. As they took a step forward, the landscape shimmered, revealing a path shining ahead. Sarah paused for a moment, glancing back at the fading echoes of their pain, feeling its weight dissolve. Always face the truth, remember? Sarah smiled softly at Emma, who beamed back. Together, they walked down the path into the light, the way of hope, intertwined with a future free from shadows. As they moved forward, all that was left behind whispered to the wind, finally free. Don't miss out. You need to subscribe now to this channel for more exclusive stories that will keep you glued to your screen. Smash that like button now. Your support fuels our journey with every click. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this exhilarating ending. We want to hear from you, and right now, share this video with at least 5 friends who need a thrill like this. Don't wait even one more second, let them experience this conclusion too. Your encouragement means everything.